Hello everyone, Chaos here, and welcome to another old school RuneScape video. Next week we have the grand finale to the revamped 1 to 99 guides, with arguably the most popular skill, Slayer. And if you've been paying close attention to the channel, I don't have a single guide for any of the Slayer bosses. Because some of them are easier to kill than a hill giant, I decided to cover all of them in a single video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the most up-to-date Slayer bosses guide. If this video is useful to you, remember to subscribe with notifications on, drop a cheeky like, and come to this channel any day of the week except the Thursdays and Sundays for frequent live streams starting at about 9 AM CST. In this video, we will take a look at all the bosses in the order which you unlock them. For each one, I will show you minimum and recommended levels, different gear setups, how to get there, RuneLite plugins, mechanics, a quick example kill, extra tips, and notable loot. So just like my other boss guides, but information will be a little quicker to fit all 6 in one. They're pretty fast to understand, so we don't need a full 10+ minute guide for any of them. If you have any questions or anything to add, leave a comment down below. Boys and girls, let's begin. The Grotesque Guardians are available at level 75 Slayer. They're classified as gargoyles, and you'll be fighting 2 of them for most of the fight, with both melee and ranged. For this encounter, the minimum levels I recommend are base 75s, but if you want to camp them more efficiently, I suggest 80 or more. Don't forget about Rigor and the 74 Prayer for that insane ranged bonus, which is well worth the cash. The minimum setup will make use of a Tentacle Whip along your trusty Dragon Defender, and a Blowpipe with Amethyst Darts for increased damage. Bring as many gear switches as you're comfortable with to help with accuracy. An intermediate setup makes use of a Rapier, Bandos, and Amulet switches. Boots are not as important, so camp whichever one you'd like. The best in slot setup looks like this, and our main weapons are now a Scythe and a Blowpipe with Dragon Darts. Masori would be a priority, so leave Torba for your last upgrade. The Grotesque Guardians can be fought at the Slayer Tower. You can get there with the Slayer Ring Teleport, the Fairy Ring code CKS for Mauritania, or worst case scenario, a teleport to Canifis to then run west and north. For useful plugins, I would only include ground markers for a nifty trick we are going to do at the beginning of the kill. Remember that to have access, you need a brittle key dropped by regular gargoyles. As for the mechanics, ring the bell to start the fight. Dawn is a flying gargoyle which attacks with ranged, and can only be attacked with ranged as well. Dusk is a walking gargoyle which attacks with melee, and again can only be attacked with melee. Focus on Dawn, and when she reaches 50% HP, she will disappear for a bit. Focus on Dusk for now, and hit him 2 to 3 times. Walk away because when his wings start glowing, if you attack him, he will knock you back for massive damage. During this mechanic, rocks will start falling down and damage a 3x3 area, so get away from them or you'll be stunned for a few ticks. When Dusk reaches 50% HP, Dawn will come back and they will both be charging up to spread orange and purple orbs around the arena. These also deal damage in a 3x3 area, so find a safe spot to stand there for a few seconds. Keep focusing Dusk and she will toss 3 purple orbs on the arena, which you will have to click, otherwise each one will heal her for 90 HP. You can skip this if you have enough DPS, but it's not really common unless you have nearly maxed stats and gear. After they are gone, kill Dawn and the Dusk will get upset, throwing you back and cage you in a square of purple fire. Simply click out to avoid massive damage, try melee, equip your special attack weapons, and finish him off to ring the bell again. Here comes a live commentary to break down the fight step by step. Okay, Grotesque Guardians, here we go. I was recording a couple of attempts not only for a bingo event, but also for my last combat achievements, as I knew I was not going to be coming back here anytime soon, so I needed footage for this video. You want to stand on this northern tile and then walk to the southern one as soon as the melee gargoyle starts attacking, so it can do some weird movement around you and it doesn't hit you as much. Now go ahead and switch to your melee gear, and after 2 side hits, and you can maybe hit 1 more, go ahead and walk away, as well as, literally not standing near the rocks falling, otherwise you're gonna get stunned. I kill them, or I guess deal damage way too quickly here, so yeah, the melee phase didn't really take too long. So after they do that, make sure to avoid the purple and the orange orbs. And what I do here is I risk it, of course, and I am going to keep attacking Noon, I believe. No, Noon is a pet, it's Dawn. And as long as you have good damage, I believe you can also wear the Venator bow here, but quite frankly, I just take the Blowpipe. Damage is going to be more than enough, and look at that, stand next to the gargoyle, boom, there we go. Obviously, this is not going to be pretty for the other gargoyle, is going to get upset. Just walk away, as long as you walk like, click away from the little box, you're gonna be fine. Equip your special attack weapon, put your melee gear on, and as long as you pray melee, I believe there's a chance, like a specific chance for the gargoyle to hit melee ranged. I honestly just pray mage, and the Blood Fury is going to be coming in pretty clutch, and you're not really going to need to worry about it here. I bring my SGS because I was going for the last combat achievement, as you will see right here, and if you don't want to bring the SGS, then maybe just bring one more piece of food, maybe like another special attack weapon, and ladies and gentlemen, that is it for the Grotesque Guardians. Pretty easy if you ask me. For extra tips, I recommend marking these tiles, step on the north one, and when Dusk is attacking you, run to the south one so he can dance without being able to hit you. Like we said before, it's recommended to click on the orbs unless you have 99 ranged, rigor, and ranging potions active. Even maxed out, I still fail the DPS check from time to time. Lastly, if you are on the Archaeus spellbook, use Death Charge on the final phase of the fight to recharge 15% special attack energy at the end. You won't be making an obscene amount of money, but some notable drops are the Black Tourmaline Core, the Boss Pet Noon, and the Jar, which oddly enough is rarer than the pet. The Abyssal Sire is available at level 85 Slayer, and it is classified as an Abyssal Demon. The fight consists of two phases, which involves waking it up by killing 4 respiratory vents around it, and then the main fight. We are looking at minimum 75 melees for the Arclight, 75 ranged for a Blowpipe, and 76 magic for Shadow Blitz. For you to have a better time, bump those up to 82 melee skills, 95 ranged, and 88 magic. We'll explain why in just a second. For the minimum setup, we are taking both melee and ranged. Bring an Arclight and items like a torso, obsidian legs, and a fury to mention a few. Bring ranged switches for the blowpipe to become more accurate. For the intermediate setup, take Bandus instead, and you could even swap to Bofa and Crystal Armor, as it will dispose of the respiratory vents a little quicker. The best in slot gear will make use of a Tunic Shadow with full Ancestral to get rid of the vents in one hit most of the time, and if you have extra cash, the best melee armor is of course Torva. Complement all of these setups with relevant jewelry, potions, food, and a teleport. The Abyssal Sire can be fought at the Abyssal Plane, which you can access via Fairy Ring with the code DIP. You could also get there through the Abyss, but it's not really recommended. When you get there, you have 4 possible places to go just in case another player is already using one spot. So, just like the Grotesque Guardians, I recommend ground markers, and the Timers plugin will let you know how long you have until the Sire is not stunned anymore. What is that? Well, let's get right to the mechanics. When you get there, use the highest to shadow spell on the Abyssal Sire to stun it. Each tier of the spell has a chance of stunning it, going up by 25% each, up to a maximum of 100% with Shadow Barrage. Once stunned, click on all 4 respiratory vents around it. If you don't do this, or if you fail the stun, not only will the tentacles around slap you for high damage, but you won't be able to hit the vents properly. The Sire will be stunned for 30 seconds, so without powerful gear, I recommend killing 2 vents, stunning the Sire once again, and then kill all the 2 vents for the actual fight to start. The Sire will walk down and you have to pray melee as it cycles through a few attacks. The first one is simply a melee attack with either its hand, 1 tentacle, or 2 tentacles. The second one, the Sire will be spawning a pool of miasma under you that deals damage in a 3x3 area. If you don't move away, it can hit up to a 30 and will also poison you. For the last one, it will summon a little spawn, so kill it quickly before it becomes a fully grown Abyssal Orphan with higher stats. When it reaches 50% HP, it will walk towards the center and plant its feet on the ground. Pray range to protect against the Abyssal spawns, and move 2 tiles away as you keep attacking to avoid miasma pools constantly spawning under you. At 35% HP, it will teleport you near it, and you have to walk back at least 2 tiles, otherwise the belly explosion will hit you for massive damage. Keep moving back and forth while attacking, and finish it off with a special weapon if you have one. Here, we have a live example. Now, the Abyssal Sire is a lot simpler, and I'm gonna be honest, ever since I got a Tunic Shadow, I'm about to say something pretty crazy. I actually like this boss a little bit. Before this, I was not a fan because the vent mechanic is not the best in the game. I mean, the Sire was designed back when, they didn't really have a lot to work with, and honestly, this mechanic now is more annoying than challenging, but I guess it is what it is. I'm pretty sure they're not going to be reworking this at this point in the game, but if they do, I'm going to be really happy, and I'm going to be grinding for the last few collection log slots I need for this boss, which is the Abyssal Head and the Abyssal Dagger. Now, if you don't have maxed gear like I said in the video, go ahead and stun the Sire once, kill 2 vents, and then stun it again to finish off the other 2. Otherwise, with Tunic Shadow, Full Ancestral, you will see that one-shotting every single vent is going to be good to go, or is going to be pretty easy, and only 1 cycle is going to be needed. Now, after the Sire walks down from the throne, or whatever it is connected, I guess, just go ahead and whack it with either an Arc Light, the Fang, if you have a Rapier, Tentacle Whip, whatever the case. Just stay here, pray melee, and be sure to look out for the miasma pools and the little spawns that the Sire can throw out and grow into an orphan if you don't finish it off quickly. Now, the final part of this fight is going to be really easy on this footage, and as you will see, I'm going to whack it with the Fang just once. I'm going to equip my Dragon Claws, walk away from it, otherwise that is going to deal massive damage, and then even if you don't finish it off with a special, go ahead and deal 1 more Fang hit, and that is pretty much it. For extra tips, if you're using magic, you know you have killed the vent if you get a combined 50 experience drop in hit points. If you want to speed up your kills with special attacks every kill, teleport to your house and recover special attack after every fight. And finally, you can cast the Blood Barrage of the spawns and the orphans to heal you just in case you are taking heavy damage. Money here is still pretty pathetic, especially with a few supply drops, and the only notable drop from the Sire is called an Unsired. If you use one of these on the font of consumption north of the Fairy Ring, you could walk away with one of the 3 pieces of the Bludgeon, an Abyssal Dagger, a Jar of Miasma, an Abyssal Head, and most importantly the pet called the Abyssal Orphan. The Kraken is available at level 87 Slayer, and it is classified as a Cave Kraken, which are the smaller variants in the cave where you find the boss. This is the most AFK encounter in the entire game. If you have an 87 Slayer, there is a pretty good chance you have 75 magic, which is our minimum threshold. To farm the boss a little more efficiently, get level 82 for a particular weapon we will mention in a little bit. No minimum prayer level for this one, as Augury won't really be of much use. For the minimum setup, you want a Trident of the Seas and an Occult Necklace, and ranged armor in your chest and legs to help against the accuracy of the Kraken's mage hits. The intermediate setup looks a little bit more advanced, but Virtus will help you with percent magic damage for faster kills, along with a Trident of the Swamp. You could also upgrade to Tormented Bracelet for even more DPS. The best on slot gear is a Sanguinesti Staff for lifesteal for you to stay longer, along with all magic damage increase items like a Fortified Elidness Ward and the Magus Ring. Don't forget your Saturated Heart and a Rune Pouch. The Kraken can be fought at a little cave west of the Piscatoris Hunter area, which you can reach via Fairy Ring code AKQ. We have other ways to get here, but they are severely inefficient compared to the Fairy Ring, which you would definitely already have unlocked at this point. Once inside the cave, go north and click on the little crack on the wall to enter the public area. You can also left-click private in order to pay 25k for an instance area, so you don't get crashed. This also means your drops will not despawn, and you can leave them underground until you leave. With fishing explosives in your inventory, click on the vial and then on the whirlpool. This will make the Kraken emerge from the water, and even if you don't have auto-retaliate on, your character will start fighting back, meaning that this fight takes a whopping 2 clicks. The only quote-unquote mechanic you'll have to worry about is that every now and then, the Kraken will hit for upwards of 28, but it is extremely rare. Just in case it happens twice in one fight, I would recommend staying above 60 HP at all times in order to AFK as much as possible. When it comes to mechanics, that's literally it. It's so short that this will be the only fight for which I'm not going to show you a live example. For extra tips, we have absolutely nothing, so instead I'll leave you with a funny bit. You can grab a locator orb, stand underneath the players in the public room, and spam click them so they can maybe get spooked and teleport out of the room. It won't be too common since 99% of people won't even be paying attention to the screen, but it could make for a nice prank. For the amount of effort needed to kill the Kraken, loot is absolutely amazing. Of course, granted you're not using a Sanguinesti Staff, which will massively cut on the gains. Notable drops include Kraken Tentacles, a full Trident of the Seas, the Jar of Dirt, and of course the Kraken Pet obtained at a rate of 1 in 3000. It will definitely be one of the easiest pets to obtain in terms of effort. With bad RNG though, you might be here for a long time. Cerberus is available at level 91 Slayer. It is classified as a Hellhound, but a bit more dangerous than all of the bosses we have seen so far. I would recommend having at least 75 in your melee combat stats, along with 70 prayer for piety, and slightly higher agility to run there if you don't have the Keymaster teleport. I personally wouldn't do this boss with anything less than 85 to deal more damage for the fight to go by quicker, because we have some deadly mechanics coming up. We need 75 because the budget setup also makes use of the Arclight, and pretty much the same melee gear as the Abyssal Sire. This time we will need a lot more prayer potions for an annoying mechanic coming up. To spice up the setup, upgrade to Bandos and an Osmum Thames Fang, or keep the Arclight and buy a Spectral Spirit Shield. With more money, you can upgrade to Bandos and a special attack weapon to reduce defenses or deal more damage. Finally, the best in slot gear will be full Inquisitor with a Scythe, and the Fang with a Spectral Switch for the aforementioned mechanic. Cerberus can be fought in the Taverly dungeon. Travel there with a Taverly POH teleport, or even to Falador and then run west. Once inside, with 70 agility you can jump over the spikes to the left. Then, run north and through a cave in the Hellhound area. You now have 3 rooms to go into, so right-click the mechanism to see if there's anyone there. You can hop around to find an empty world, and once inside, jump over a little fire to begin. You'll be able to attack Cerberus when she stands up, and she will automatically let out a triple attack which happens every 10 actions. Pray Mage, ranged, and then melee to avoid all damage. She can use all 3 attack styles throughout the fight, so the best strategy is just to pray Mage the entire time. When Cerberus falls below 400 health, every now and then she will summon ghosts which are color-coded depending on their attack style. When they make it past the demonic head, you will be able to see them, and they will fly towards you from left to right. Prayer needs to be active before they move, and it will do so every 2 ticks. So, pray against the first one, and as soon as it moves, pray against the next style, and after the second one moves, pray against the final style, and then go back to Pray Mage. Every time you successfully protect against them, they will drain 30 prayer. If you fail to do so, they will hit you for a 30 instead. If you are wearing a Spectral Spirit Shield, the prayer drain will be halved to 15 instead. This is why Cerberus is one of the most resource-intensive bosses in the game. The other mechanic you have to worry about is when she summons pools of lava. These damage a 3x3 area around them, so find a safe spot to attack Cerberus and continue the fight. At this point, Cerberus might be ready to throw another triple attack, so watch out when she stands on her back legs, praying Mage, ranged, and melee every 2 ticks to tank them all. Her HP will eventually reach 0, and you'll just have to wait a few seconds for her to respawn and go again. Here we have a live example kill to go over all the mechanics at once. Alright, now time for Cerberus. As you see, as soon as she stands up, she will launch the triple attack, starting with Mage, Range, and then Melee. As you can see in the footage, I don't really pray against them. I will be dealt a heavy damage here, but honestly, just eat up and the Blood Fury is going to come in clutch. With Mace, I believe I didn't have Scythe at this point because I didn't have as much money for that one and it was not really a priority. But the Mace is just going to make it so the Blood Fury doesn't consume as many charges. As you can see, I fall dangerously low here, but it's really not going to be that much of an issue. Just go ahead and use a Dragon Claws with that charge and oh my god, I'm about to die. But I decided to pick this, kill because of something that's going to happen here that will be very important for you to see how I handle it. Now, as you can see, I just keep attacking another triple attack, which, again, I don't really protect against, I just pray Mage, since it is going to be the most crucial attack from Cerberus, and since we are wearing full melee, then definitely one you need to watch out for. Now, it will summon the ghosts, and I am going to take care of the praying mechanic, but not only that, as soon as Cerberus does that, the pools are going to appear. So like I said before, I recommend prioritizing movement, maybe like tank 1 or 2 hits from the lava pools and then move to a safe tile. Pray against the ghosts because they are going to be able to finish you off very quickly if you're not paying attention. And as soon as those mechanics are gone, there you go, Cerberus is now dead. For extra tips, I personally just skip the prayer swap for the triple attack, since ranged and magic are a little bit inaccurate. And if you have a Blood Fury, you can simply heal throughout the fight. There will be times where both the ghosts and the lava pools will overlap. You have to prioritize the ghosts since they are a lot deadlier than the pools, so if you have to tank 1 or 2 hits from the pool to successfully change prayers and then move away, do so and then eat some food. And finally, if you want to save on some prayer, you can make it so you have less than 15 prayer points for the final ghost hit, since it will drain all of them, and you don't have to be high on prayer points all the time. General loot is honestly pretty bad here, and you'll make just enough money to cover your supplies, granted you're not using a scythe with Blood Fury. We are of course looking at the different crystals Cerberus can drop as uniques. In order of importance we have Primordial Crystal, Smoldering Stone, Eternal Crystal, and the Piccation Crystal, along with the Jar of Souls and the Pet that drop at 1 in 2000 and 3000 respectively, a pretty nice boss to improve mechanics and reaction time. The Thermonuclear Smoke Devil is available at level 93 Slayer. It is classified as a Smoke Devil, which is the inferior variant found in the Smoke Devil dungeon. Minimum stats I recommend for this are 80 in melee or 78 in magic, and because it doesn't pose a major threat, this is all you really need. If you have level 93 Slayer, I'll assume you have high combat stats, so level 90s in combats will dispose of this boss really quickly. We can kill Thermy with both melee and magic, so I will show you gear setups for both. For melee, you should at least have a tentacle whip with carriel top and bottom, along your standard melee gear. Your inventory will be a special attack weapon, high alchemy spells, and prayer potions. For the intermediate setup, we will still take carriels, but bring a rapier or a fang instead. The best in slot gear will be a scythe along Masori top and bottom, and of course a pair of dragon claws or even a void waker with an Avernic defender. For mage, get a toxic trident with a Decol necklace and air in pieces, as well as ice blitz in your rune pouch. The intermediate gear will see use of a Sanguinesti staff with virtues instead, so you can heal some of your hits. The best in slot setup will be a Tunican Shadow with ancestral pieces, and a saturated heart, most important being the shadow, so you can save up. Thermy can be found in the Smoke Devil Cave south of Castle Wars. The best way to get there is a Fairy Ring Code BKP, and then just run north. To my knowledge, this doesn't have the option to join a private instance like the Kraken, so you'll have to hop around to find an empty world. Once inside the dungeon, click on the little crack on the wall western part of the area and prepare for the fight. This will be another short segment because Thermy has one simple mechanic, and that is attacking every 3 ticks with a typeless damage. The reason we are bringing Carriels or Masori is a high magic defensive bonus to mitigate the constant hits, which can deal between 0 and 8 damage. That's all you need to know about the mechanics, so let me walk you through what to do with both melee and magic. For melee, turn the run option off, click on Thermy to attack it, and then either shift-click under it or walk across the enemy for it not to attack as frequently. If you are using a rapier, you will attack every 4 hits. If you are using a fang or a scythe, you will attack every 5 hits instead. We do this to trade the blows 1-to-1 instead of Thermy attacking every 3 ticks compared to your 4 or 5 to avoid as much damage as possible. Now, you are going to have Redemption as quick prayer along with Piety. When you are low on HP and Thermy hits you for any amount that would bring your HP below 10, Redemption will consume your remaining prayer points and heal you for 33. If you do this correctly, it essentially means that 1 dose of prayer potion equals 1 kill. But with bad RNG, you will have to drink a few doses. Take a prayer potion and click on quick prayer to activate them again, and wait for another proc and then the kill. For magic, it's a lot easier. Copy the tiles you see on screen, which will also be in the description, and stand on the tile at the very edge. You are going to use Ice Blitz on Thermy to freeze him in place, and have your staff on long range so he can't hit you. When he becomes unfrozen, just freeze him again and walk back 1 or 2 tiles to safe spot him once again. Do this until you're done and then heal whenever necessary. This time we'll prioritize food instead of prayer potions, as we won't be using redemption like the melee method. All you need to do for melee Thermy is click, walk under, and because I'm streaming right now, as you can see, I don't have footage for this, I think it corrupted. You guys are going to be seeing my beautiful brown face. I don't really do it too much because I'm speaking, I'm reading chat, so I am not 100% focused here, but I guess it gets the job done, as the Fang is going to absolutely rip this thing apart, since you don't really have to worry too much about it. So just go ahead and pray Redemption as soon as it hits and deals damage. There you go, just re-drink your prayer potion. Boys and girls, that's pretty much it for the Thermonuclear Smoke Devil. I don't have any extra tips for this one since the kill is extremely straightforward, and both the methods are going to take just a few attempts to get used to. If you have any additional information for the Thermonuclear Smoke Devil, make sure to leave a comment below. When it comes to loot, this is like Cerberus and the Abyssal Sire. Common loot is extremely lackluster and you'll barely make enough cash to cover your supplies. Notable drops include the best in slot mage amulet in the game as of the time of making this video, which is the Occult Necklace, a Smoke Battle Staff, the Jar, a Dragon Chain Body, and of course the Pet, a smaller version of Thermy. The Alchemical Hydra is available at level 95 Slayer. It is of course classified as a Hydra, and at the time of making this video, this is the highest requirement for any Slayer-specific creature. We can also kill it with either melee or ranged, but I will only show you the ranged method. At level 95 Slayer, you shouldn't have anything less than 90s in combat, so I recommend those. But why not, I recommend 95 to do even more damage and get more kills per hour. Since we will only do this with ranged, get at least a Blowpipe with Anguish and the Blessed Dragonhide pieces. Make sure to take either a Ring of the Gods or the Vowed Boots for a bit of prayer experience. The intermediate setup will make use of a Dragon Hunter crossbow with a Twisted Buckler, and Ruby Bolts to deal tons of damage. The best in slot setup is a Twisted Bow with Masori pieces, a powerful Zerite crossbow, and Ruby Bolts with a Light Bearer to have full special attack energy once every kill. Get there with a Rada's Blessing or a Fairy Ring code CIR to then climb up the mountain. Once inside, go north, and if you have 88 agility, you can use the shortcut, which isn't really a shortcut whatsoever, or run past the small Hydras to get to this place. Go over the little obstacle and you have to go through the doors in order to face the Hydra. The Hydra starts off green and you have to lure it to the red fountain to weaken it. Otherwise, it will have massively increased defense. You know you did it right if the Hydra lets out a roar, which you can see in the chat on top of it. After the first 3 hits, it will throw acid around you, so just run away from it. Keep attacking and the Hydra will now change to color blue at 75% HP. Now, lure it to the green fountain and keep attacking. After 3 attacks, it will throw a ball of lightning in the middle of the arena, and 4 bolts will follow you around for a few seconds. If they hit you, you will be damaged and stunned for a few ticks. Avoid them as you run towards the blue fountain to prepare for the next phase. At 50% HP, the Hydra will change to color red, so weaken it with the blue fountain. And this time, stay towards the middle of the arena. After 3 hits, it will walk towards the middle, and if you're standing here, it will summon firewalls. Stand on this tile, and as soon as the Hydra throws back its head for the 3rd time, walk to this tile to completely skip the fire mechanic. If you don't do this, little flames will follow you around and deal massive damage over time if they hit you. When it reaches 25% HP, it will turn grey, and then swap to the opposite attack style it was using for the first hit. This time, it will swap styles every single hit and attack faster. After 3 hits, it will spit acid again, so move to a safe tile as you deal damage to close out the kill. This is by far the most complex one we've seen so far, so here's a live example. Now, when the Alchemical Hydra spawns, it is going to start attacking with either ranged or magic. Those projectiles coming out of the technically left pair of heads are going to be magic, and the other one is going to be ranged and they look like spikes. Depending on how you position your camera, they're going to be either like this or inverted, so you just have to get used to however you want to see the Hydra. When it launches 3 attacks with the basic ones, it is going to do the acid pool, so just run around, raises their heads, and the Hydra is just going to swap, and then it will do that for the remainder of the phase. At 75% HP, you will see that it is going to swap to blue, and this is where I like to use the Zerite crossbow, either at the very beginning or as I am running towards the other side of the room. Raises its heads once again, it is going to swap attack styles, and I walk in here just to be ready for the red phase, and as you can see, it is going to spawn just a few, like, lightnings, tornadoes, or whatever. Well, I mean, they're not real lightnings, but they just follow you around like TOB and Corrupted Gauntlet. After it changes red, it is going to be right here, and you will weaken it with a blue fountain, and you just have to stand near those red tiles that I have in the middle of the arena. What happens now? After 3 hits, it is going to walk to the center of the room, and it is going to do the flame attack. Stand on this one, and as soon as the heads go back, boom, there we go. You click on this one, and it's going to completely bypass the flame mechanic, otherwise you're going to have to run around. The gray face is going to roll around, and now it is going to swap every single attack style, and after 3, it is going to lay some acid once again, walk back 2 tiles, and then you're good to go as long as you do correct switches, and yeah, that is pretty much it. You can just walk around. If you take too long to kill it, then of course, again, it is going to lay acid, like maybe after a couple of ticks, but with enough damage, you'll be good to go. For extra tips, there's something called the lightning skip, which I have never been able to do, so I'll leave a great guide to that in method in the description below. If you have a Zerite crossbow, I personally use the special for Ruby Bolt proc at the beginning of the lightning phase, so I can completely skip over that special attack and I don't even have to do the lightning skip. And finally, if you're taking a Dragon Bone necklace, you can wear it before the end of the kill to recover 8 prayer and automatically bury the bones since they are pretty cheap nowadays and not really worth banking. Of course, you can keep them if you need the GP. Hydra is not the profit it used to be, and we are looking at a little bit more money per hour on average, but still nothing spectacular. Keep an eye out for the Hydra tail to make the Dragon Bone necklace, the 3 Brimstone ring pieces in the form of a fang, a heart, and an eye, as well as the Hydra leather to make ferocious gloves. And finally, the Hydra claw to make the Dragon Hunter lance. You can't forget about the Alchemical Hydra at a rate of 1 in 3000 for the cute boss pet. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and try out the Slayer bosses soon. Let me know which one is your favorite and why in a comment below. A huge thank you to all the channel members for your support. My wife, my puppy and I are super grateful for your continued interest in the channel. If you'd like to be a part of this list of legends, click the join button below to see all the cool perks you can get in the videos, in the live streams and in the Discord for a monetary pledge. In the next one, we have the grand finale to the revamped 1 to 99 skill guides, as we will tackle arguably the most popular skill in the game, Slayer. I hope you're looking forward to it, but for now, have an amazing week and I will see you then. Peace!